So, that Pixar ranking was very tiring. Paid off though, I guess. A lot of views. Even though it was completely wrong, and I'm sorry for getting it completely wrong. But what I just want to see is do like a laid down, nice, small video to just take my mind off of things before the next big project. So, what's next and why does no one remember? Okay! Why not? I liked that movie. Storks was a movie made by Warner Animation Group and was done primarily now. The movie, and yes, it's it's the next ring in Why Does No One Remember movies, which are not based on anything in particular. They're mostly original ideas. It's the, what is it, 4th in a row? Yeah, we're on to a big run here. Who knows what's gonna come next? Now, you expect me to talk about the production now, right? Well, maybe. There's not really much to go off. The description on Wikipedia was only one paragraph, so I don't think there's that much to report, but we'll do it anyway. It was announced in January 2013, 3 years before release, and when Warner Brothers formed its animation think tank, and with some directors and writers. Doug Sweetland was brought on to direct, which is actually his directorial debut after only being an animator from Weatherby Forward, which is pretty interesting. The writer of the movie, Nicholas Stoller, had much more experience though. Now, and then it was announced that both would co-direct the film later, which is interesting. But on 20th of April, Andy Samberg and Kelsey Grammer were both attached to play the film. And so, while, yes, it was in production for a while, I can't really find any specifics that the production was specifically troubled. I mean, who knows if it was or not? In any major way? I mean, it might have been, but there's no real way to tell. So, let's just get on with the review. I know this segment was much shorter than it usually is, but maybe that's for the best, I don't want these videos to be as long as my last few have been. Okay! Now that was certainly something. So yeah, this movie is weird. Let's start with the premise. It's pretty good, to be honest. It's based around a legend that storks deliver babies, except in this movie they've stopped and decided to become Amazon instead. It's honestly a good plot for a movie. Its execution can get muddled, and it certainly is played out weird here. it's about like a particular Stork about to get promoted to a boss position, thus has to fire more than Tulip. The main reason they stopped delivering babies because of a weird reason, which I'll talk about later, and Junior has to fire her to become the boss of the company. But of course he doesn't, because the movie needs to happen. So instead Fakes are getting a new job, as they accidentally get a letter and throw it into the baby machine, meaning they have to deliver it. Hijinks ensue. Simple plot. So just simple plot probably needs great characters to be of good quality. These ones, well, I guess I like Junior. He has a good arc about truly finding out who he wants to be. He kind of starts off pretty unlikable at first, only wanting the job as boss, but I don't think it ever gets to a point where he becomes annoying. I also genuinely think his character development works. I mean, it's a little clunky in places, but you can tell he grows to care about Tulip and the baby. Speaking of Tulip, I honestly think she's great. And honestly, she should have been the main protagonist. An orphan working in a Stork world clearly unfairly ridiculed for being eccentric. Like at the beginning, it's clearly the chicken flaw is a good example. It shows that, yeah, she is neglected here. But I love the part where she creates 100 versions of herself just so she can stop being lonely. Her dynamic with Junie is really good. She honestly cares about him and is honestly wacky to talk about. But she also acts like she should, like trying to find her parents. She seems to have a full adoptive parent. I actually kind of wish they went more into her backstory, like who has been looking after her all this time? Was the boss doing it, or was she just like kept in the factory for so long? Either way, her life is clearly screwed up. She is fantastically voiced by the only main voice actor in the movie who isn't a celebrity. Now let's talk about the antagonists in the film. Yeah, they kinda suck. The wolves are great. Their two scenes are so goddamn funny and play up the hilarity of a wolf pack. 100% the best scenes of a movie. Nothing even comes close. The constant tricks they do with the plane, boat, submarine, bridge, and others, especially the broken heart, show up the creativity of the film, humor, and definitely the animation. Everyone else, though, no. First, the CEO. I don't remember his name. Did he even have a name? He's not really that threatening and doesn't have that much of a motive to stop the baby factory from happening. If, for example, he had some experience with making him hate babies or humans, but we don't get that. Of course, pure evil can be a joy to watch, but he doesn't, but he's not really played in that fantastic of a way. And the boss thing is fantastic, but other than that, there's not really that much to talk about him. And Pigeon Toady. Oh my god, I hate him. He is so annoying and awful, and seems like a baseless comic relief. He's actually kind of a twist villain. Like, what? Well, yes, the comic relief was secretly the villain all along. Could be a twist that works. But it works better if they were only pretending to be annoying and or stupid just to divert attention. But here he's the exact same character. We never get his motivation for wanting to be boss. Yes, that was kind of the point of Junior's arc, I guess. But did Pigeon Toady, like, was that the same? Did he also just not want to be boss? He's such an awful character that I can't tell. He's probably one of the worstest villains I've ever seen. I'm serious. So, then we have Jasper. Now, He's obviously supposed to be a red herring villain. Because he just appears at random points throughout the movie just saying, "My baby! I'm following them." But but obviously it's going to turn out that, yeah, he was just trying to help. It's predictable. And he's nothing to write home about. But I suppose it's very predictable twist. But still kind of works what they're going for. Still nothing really to report on him. Any more characters to talk about? Well, the human family. They're okay. The scenes with them feel like filler, like they really didn't need to be in the movie, except from the beginning and end. But on the other hand, it is a look into the human world, plus it raises the stakes, as we see how much the kid wants a sibling. And it really helps. And now I want to talk about the ending. It's chaotic, and I'm not sure it fully works. Like, the boss kind of dies, and like, kind of gets blown up. Like, baby machine, like, keeps going on, not thinking things through and all that. They, like, call them to, like, a house in the middle of nowhere, and somehow Junior's, like, dumb enough to fall for it. I mean, well, what is even going on at this point? I'm like, it just gets a bit too... And then they decide to deliver babies again. Now, obviously, this was kind of the answer to the movie, but it's not like a big motivational speech because it seems like a last-minute resort. So it's not as motivation. It doesn't feel like as much of a satisfying ending as it kind of should be. And we don't get enough about the total calling. That's just it. I feel like this movie has a lot of problems with its world building. It really should feature more flashbacks to how the world was with Storks, because sometimes it just seems like they stopped delivering babies for a good reason. I mean, it's just weird. So, do I like this movie? I don't know. Certainly has some strong points, but the weak points definitely drag it down. It is an incredibly weird movie, though, and I don't remember it being this weird. So yes, this movie is pretty good for the most part. It's a bit of a grey area. I don't know what to think of it. I think it has a lot of good elements and bad elements, but no matter what I think of a film, or what you think of a film, or anything, that's not what we're here to talk about today. We're here to talk about today why it was forgotten. So let's talk about how the movie was talked about at the time. So at the box office, it did quite okay. It wasn't the greatest thing ever, but I think it did better than a lot of other movies in this series. It had a budget of $70 million, and while it just barely made it back in the US and Canada, it did gross a fair amount in other countries. Even if it failed domestically, it definitely didn't fail worldwide. It was worldwide. The movie was somewhat praised by critics as well, with a 65% on Rotten Tomatoes, for one, which is quite fresh. But honestly, it's not even close to like the highest one in this series. But it was decently well received as well. So it was like decently well received in the box office and critically. Also, something which was weird to know, weird to find out, apparently it was noted for its inclusion of of same-sex couples. And apparently, like, it was like casually inclusive of same-sex couples. I went, what are you talking about? When was the gay couples in this movie? Oh, and then like, I just read a couple of articles about it, like, and it's just like a few parents in this one montage, and like I was going, okay, so that's seriously it? Seriously? It's like casually inclusive, but I guess. But it's still only one scene. Like, I'm not really an authority in LGBT people's representation, but it's one scene. It's blink it, you miss it. This is like Disney representation. Or what? I mean, this isn't anything big. But this does answer the question. Why is this movie forgotten? Well, has some gay people in it, which makes it woke. This movie is forgotten because it's woke. That's why no one remembers it. It is woke, and when you go woke, you go broke, as we all know. It's woke. That's it. So why is this movie really forgotten? Yeah, if you couldn't tell, that was a joke. Please get off the internet. But, I think it's similar to Epic, maybe. It was decently received and decently sold, but decently successful, but there's not really much else. It didn't really make much cultural impact, and while I do think the movie is interesting to talk about, it having no cultural impact is definitely... I understand how it could have no cultural impact. I mean, it's not really attractive, and while yes, it did gross a lot of money, it was mostly in other countries. So maybe it's more talked about in those other countries, and I just haven't heard about it in other countries. I mean, who knows? It's an interesting idea. I do like this movie, but I think it was forgotten for a reason. But Warner Brothers, I think this movie at least deserves a little more credit. Who knows? Might talk about it again someday. So let's end the video. If you liked it, please leave a like, and also comment below and subscribe, and follow me on social media as well. Got a lot going on down there. But if you didn't like this video, please leave a dislike and a hate comment. I'm so glad I got my first in the last video. So I'll see you in my next one.